Angie Knight, and I'm going to tell you about Time to Fly, which is an upcoming transformational event happening here in Austin, January 31st through February 2nd of 2020. And I will be facilitating and hosting this event at a beautiful retreat center in South Austin. What is it? Why would you come? What would you take out of it? Well, there was a hospice nurse who wrote an article that had an effect on me, that the most common thing that people regret on their deathbed is that looking back, they wish that they had lived a more authentic life, that they realized how many choices they made or didn't make were based on the expectations and the wants of others. And in the end, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you have found your own inner knowing and path and cultivated a relationship with yourself and life that feels fulfilling and real and free to you. So that's the point of this event, because I struggled with this my whole life. I didn't fit into the shoulds and the shouldn'ts. I didn't fit into the programming, so I thought there was something wrong with me, which carried a tremendous amount of sadness and confusion. So I spent most of my younger life seeking outside of my familial unit for meaning, for answers, for understanding of myself and the world. And then I spent the last 10 plus years mentoring others. And what I found is that I have this gift to help people be more themselves. So even in my teaching, I feel it's a success when someone has found their own voice over learning anything that I've told them. And so I've kind of honed this process of helping people unlearn the shoulds and the shouldn'ts, the conditioning, through various practices, meditation, dropping into the wisdom of your body, learning how to communicate with the systems that are preconditioned systems, such as our intuition, our gut. And so that way people can begin to remember why they're here, so that they can have a more fulfilled, authentic life. They can begin to remember their gifts, which interestingly are often what was told is wrong with us. And so it's this really honorable and beautiful privilege that I have to be able to support someone through the process of unlearning what they've thought is wrong with them and what they've been programmed to think they should want to do, to remembering their purpose and their essence, and to watch somebody go from feeling unworthy or exhausted or unfulfilled to seeing the light back in their eyes, because they now get to go out in the world and start to create and express for the sake of itself, for the sake of themselves, rather than for anyone else. And it's really rewarding and purposeful for me, because I want a world where we are living our own authentic purpose and expressing our own real voice, so that we can come back to a place of collaboration, right? So instead of me comparing myself to you and trying to be more like you, I'm going to be more me. And then you being more you is going to be collaborative rather than competitive. And then we have a win-win-win situation. And I don't want to operate in anything less than win-win-win. So a win for me, which I used to neglect, a win for you, collaboration, and a win for the world. And I feel that each of us have been clipped, our wings have been clipped in some way because of what was reflected to us growing up. And then we take on beliefs at a very, very young age, that I'm unworthy, that I'm not safe. And of course we do, because that's actually what was reflected to us. But those beliefs are not true. Those thoughts that have become beliefs are not true. And once we see that, we can be like, oh, well, do I want to keep this belief that money is really hard to make and I have to work my whole life and sacrifice, whatever the belief is that stresses you out or wears you down? Once you realize what's been in there, then you have a choice. Where before we didn't really have a choice. We think we're making choices, but it's our 3, 4, 7-year-old self driving the adult car, which is terrifying. But it's liberating when you realize you can be the adult. You can reparent that child who thought that they were unworthy of their needs. And then you can try on a new belief, and you can go out into the world after this weekend and start to make authentic and empowered choices and changes for yourself. What I've witnessed in doing this in the past, I've done it 2 times, is that people have these huge breakthroughs. They want to go back and, follow a new career path or make a new decision in the work or the relationship that they're in, or maybe just honoring themselves for the first time in decades or their whole life. But then you go back into the old patterns, and it's really hard to maintain it. It's really hard to live from your heart in a mind, rational-centered world. And trust me, I know this from personal experience. So what I'm realizing is that after this transformational weekend, where you're so excited to dream this life that you want into being, you're going to probably need ongoing support, which is what we needed as children, to be like, oh, you don't have to be perfect. You messed up, but look what you got out of that, and I believe in you, and you got this, and what's the next right thing to do? And so after Time to Fly weekend, I'm going to, this time, for the first time, offer ongoing support and mentoring if anybody wants to continue. So this weekend is for men and women, and it'll be Friday night and then 12 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. And we will be doing some all levels yoga, but this is to help you get from your mind into your body. There's specific intent behind that, and it helps bring you into the present moment, which is where you are your most empowered, loving, awesome self. And then we will do things such as meditation. We will do group discussions. Storytelling is one of my favorite ways of illustrating something. And we will have, we will do our own personal work. Like, we'll take a belief once we've unearthed it, and then you'll go through this process of deciding if you want to rewrite this contract that you made at a very young age, and then how to move from there into what you do want. And so we'll do visioning, we'll learn to operate in multiple levels of consciousness simultaneously. So we have the literal, the physical and emotional, which is where we mostly stay. But then if you go to the symbolic and the imaginative realm, then things can happen exponentially. It's like going from swimming upstream to going upstream and flowing. And then there's energetic, which I'll bring in the shamanic energetic healing techniques so that we can clear ourselves energetically as well and get ready for a whole new whatever it is that your heart's deepest desire is.